All right, and now we have our third lightning talk, which is me. So let me share my slides. Okay. Just think on time. Okay. So I have taught this 3 credit social justice through zines course at SUNY Buffalo State. I'm now teaching it for the second time. My inspiration for teaching it was I um, wrote a book review for college and research libraries, and I was assigned this book on critical librarianship and pedagogy symposium. And it contained this amazing chapter by a couple librarians who had taught a course called Information Studies for Social Justice, and that involved using zines and teaching around the theme of social justice. And so I also went then to ZLOC 2024 and learned so much from talking with the other zine librarians. I mined zinelibraries.info for all the info I could find. And that especially helped me in terms of how I would grade zines, which I'll talk about in a second. So this is the course that I teach. This was from my first semester teaching it, the flyer that I made for it. You can see people protesting and holding megaphones. There's a raised fist. There's some pink stars. And there's the text for my class, lib 389/WGS 389. So it was cross-listed with women, gender, and sexuality studies. And then the class is called Social Justice Through Zines. And the little tagline I have about the course is that the course examines social justice movements through the lens of zines, self-published DIY works. Students will study zines in the library collection and create their own zines. This is from the syllabus mini zine that I made for my class, and I basically handed it out to students. I printed it in color and handed it out unfolded on the first day. And so that and a few other mini zines that we folded just to practice folding and do it a few times, because you kind of maybe don't do it the right first time as you're learning. And so this was just intended to be kind of a colorful introduction to the course that also conveys zine content, in a zine format. And then this is the other 2 spreads of the syllabus mini zine. So talking about the grading, required materials, and then a very brief overview of the schedule. In terms of the grading, participation was a big chunk of it. So 20% was participation because you have to actually be doing stuff and talking and sharing in this class. Reading zines is a big part of it as well. Writing about them and reading blogs is 15%. And then over the course of the semester, students create at least 2 zines that they turn in for a grade. Well, the first one is a per-zine mini-zine. And then the second one is a social justice zine in a half-size format. 8 pages minimum, so only 2 sheets of paper each, but some students did go beyond that. We have Canva Premium at my work, and we do offer, we kind of extend our license to the students in this class just for the course of the semester, just to allow them to have the full Canva Premium access that we get, that I have access to. And then I also provide lots of art supplies every day, actually, but even more on certain days. Let's see here. So this is what we cover in terms of our topics. So zine and self-publishing, history, present, and future, why one would make zines, how to make zines, both digital and analog formats. I model for them. Distributing zines. So this is something that I introduced in my second semester. I kind of didn't really do much about it my first semester, but my second semester, I have required the students to distribute their per zines and their social justice zines, but they get to decide who and how and all of that. So, and they just have to report back to me on it in a reflection statement. So they could totally lie and not do it. Like I'm not really policing that. But I do want them to get their work out there and to think about how that feels. to get their work out there and seen. And hopefully they are also given the opportunity to share their zines in class. But again, they don't have to. They get to choose with whom they share. We talk about Creative Commons, copyright, citation, authority and voice, self-care and creativity. So especially with the Perzine topic, I tell them that, like, I give them an example of a Perzine, one that I've written called My Abortion Journey. And but I make sure to make clear that they don't have to get into their trauma if they don't want to, that they can keep it lighter, that they can, that they know best their own life and what they can handle in this current moment and how deep they want to get. So I give them a lot of freedom in terms of that, but also support if they do decide to go deeper, some support around caring for oneself as you write. And then we talk about various social movement issues and histories, Riot Girl, the Harlem Renaissance, climate justice, information justice, racial justice, things. And like I said, it's a very hands-on approach. So they are making zines or folding zines at the very minimum from the very beginning of the class and throughout. I also got this idea from Don Stahura to start every class with a 2-minute doodle. And so this is, again, a way to, like, be more creative and perhaps break out of the academic rigid norms that some folks have. I also then gather together each student's doodles in a little book at the end of the semester. So it's a nice little keepsake that they can have, kind of like your zine, Sarah. So the formats that we cover in class, we do the mini zine, the half size zine. Those students make those for sure. But I also teach them how to make a micro mini 16-pager and also origami dragon chain books, which I learned about that method. And the students in my class, I haven't taught it actually in this semester yet. The students in the last semester really loved it. But I also teach them collage and line of cut. So these were some topics that were covered by the student zines in last year's course, last fall. Dyeing your hair, getting a cat, Black joy and Black rage, trans healthcare, abortion rights, book banning, climate crisis, and activism in general. And then there's a couple of the zines, a couple of the origami dragon chain actually zines that they, 2 of the students made zines about. Here is some student feedback from my course evaluation. See if I can see this and see you all too. So what's the most valuable part of this class and why? Hands-on interaction with zines and the material they cover, something I might never have had if it weren't for this class. Learning about different topics that impact our world and the people they affect. This class showed me many different ways to get my voice heard by using zines. The things you learn and the time you spend with Dr. Satel, truly eye-opening to a world of outreach and creation. And learning there are various ways to create a zine and how it intersects with social justice movements. So as I mentioned, zine distribution is incorporated into the course, into the assignments that they do. They're also encouraged to add zines to the library collection. I don't know that I've talked about the grading bit. Yeah, let me talk about the grading bit. So upon getting all the advice from this wonderful community, I basically decided to have as much of the grade not be grading the zines as possible. And so for the Perzines, the grade comes from 2 sources. The reflection statement, which is graded like a paper. It's a 2-page reflection statement. Everybody gets 100 really, but graded out of 100. And then the zine, the Perzine, is graded pass fail according to a rubric that we collaboratively create in the class together. Same then with the social justice zine project, although that I have scaffolded more. So in addition to the reflection statement and the zine itself, which again is created or graded through a collaborative created rubric, I have them a required individual meeting with me. I have them submit their topic statement and annotated bibliography because it is a research-based zine. And one other thing. Oh, an outline, that's the thing. And then the actual zine itself, which if they give it to me like a few hours ahead of the deadline or ahead of class time, I can print black and white copies for them to distribute. And so I encourage that as well and support their distribution. The goal in the spring is to apply to the curriculum committee of the university and make this a regular course. It's currently a topics course that can only be offered a few times. I also want to make this a general education course. SUNY has a diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice requirement that I think this course fits in precisely. There's some weird administrative bureaucracy nonsense around new gen eds not getting approved right now, so I might have to wait on that, which is a bummer because without that, the course is purely an elective, and that kind of limits then the student body who can take it, really, given their limited schedules. It is a 3-quarter course. It will remain so, but I also have the opportunity to adapt it into a 1-credit course for high school students taking college courses. So that's considered a revenue generating opportunity at the university right now. And I am trying to roll with that, but also see it as a good opportunity to reach another audience, another group of folks who would be interested in this topic. I make zines myself and I post them all online for free because I'm terrible at mailing things to people. I love mail culture. I'm just not, I'm not participating really. So you can find all my zines at juliesattel.com, and you can find me on Instagram, and you can email me, and my slides are also in the note document. So that's me, and those are my cats.